Good evening, everyone, or good afternoon, or good morning, wherever you are. It's Susan Kennedy here, broadcasting from the very warm and humid Gold Coast in Australia. My goodness me, it is really, really humid here at the moment. So if I'm perspiring a lot, I apologise, but that's just life, even though I've got my air conditioner on. So yeah, we're going to have a really interesting show today, I feel. Already things are happening differently for me. So I've lost my video. I can't see what I normally see, so I'm just going with the flow here. But we're talking this week about, well, I want to talk about the full moon because I'm a bit of a moonaholic, if you haven't realised that already. So every month when the full moon comes, there's always something different to understand about it. Now, at the moment, we've got this amazing energy of this super moon. So a supermoon just means it's the time when the moon is closer to the Earth than it normally is. And so it appears absolutely like this huge, great big light in the sky. And the thing about the moon is it comes every month. It's always, the sun's there all the time. It never changes. Sometimes you don't see the sun, but you never see it change shape. And the sun really is all about the eternal spirit. It's representative of the journey of life, really, that the spirit is always there. And the moon for me represents the changing nature of life. So we've got this blue moon, the super moon, and I think there's a blood moon as well. 3 amazing moons all rolled into one. Now, we also had a super moon at the beginning of the month on the 2nd of January. So between these two times, what I've noticed personally, excuse me, I've personally noticed a lot of old things, really, really, really deep stuff. Even for me, I had some things come up from when I was in the womb, believe it or not. So, yes, some patterns that were put in place for me at 7 weeks of development in the womb. My goodness me, and I'm only just realizing that stuff now and letting it go. So the whole thing is that if you've been highly emotional for this, this last few days, or for this month, just to recognize that the moon will be having an impact, and it's at its flight tonight, my time, and tomorrow night, probably your time if you're in the United States or the United Kingdom. But the whole idea is about bringing more peace into your world and to be able to look at how you can look within your life so that, if you are very emotional, the questions are always, how can I feel differently? So, stop asking why. Why do I feel like this? Why is it always the same? Why am I so emotional? The whys get you nowhere. Start asking the how. How can I understand myself more? And the idea is just to find the absolute beauty in your life, to find the beauty in yourself, and to find the perfection of the way your life has turned out to date. Because I believe we set things up before we come in. I also believe we have free will. So the whole idea is that between this full moon and the next full moon, you have the powerful energy to become a creator. So I always draw a few little cards before I start, and I thought I'd share them with you this week before I take my first caller. But the first card I drew this week was peace. So you see the beautiful colours in that, and it's all about finding the inner peace that comes when we really look at ourselves and we stop asking the why question and we start asking the how. And the next beautiful card is beauty. And if you look at all the amazing colours there, what I see with that is how can you look at yourself and your life and celebrate your life and celebrate yourself? And the final card is the creator. So that's saying you have 1 month from today to recreate your life if you're not happy with it now. And of course, you've got more than 1 month if you're lucky, but some people don't. I've seen a lot of people recently who are in their, end stages of life. And the biggest thing in the end stages of life is how can I be more happy? How can I let go of pain? How can I let go of sadness? So your job now, be the creator, enjoy the full moon. Hope you get an amazing view of it. And yeah, be really interested to hear next week from anybody about what happens for you. So I'm going to take my first caller now, as we do 2 readings always on the show. So we've got Erica in Kansas City, Missouri. Hello, Erica. How are you today?
Hi, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm really well, thank you. You sound very happy and upbeat. How can I help you today?
A little bit, yes. My question was that I've been dating this guy for some time, and I was just wondering what was the future in there, or if there was
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. Okay. So interesting again. I always say to everyone, I draw cards before the show. So the first card I draw for you is the Lover's card. So I know that there's relationship here, and I also know part of it is, will I make the same mistake again? Okay, because I feel that's part of your question in the relationship. Because at
Uh-huh.
some level, I feel that you're still not fully in it. If you understand that, I feel like I'm just a little bit standoffish still in the relationship. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Yeah. So sometimes when we don't fully trust, we don't fully commit, and that can be felt in the energy. So when I look at the energy of you with your new friend, my feeling is it will be very successful once you begin to express a little bit more about what you want. Because I still feel for you that you feel not noticed or not valued. Do you understand
Mhm.
that?
Yes, I do, and that's true. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. So the whole idea is that there's only you that can change that. And I feel that it's important for you to begin to stop doing so much for this person, because it's almost in relationships as though you become like the mother.
Right.
Yeah, I was just saying it's like, oh, I'm making meals, I'm doing things, I'm being really attentive, and I'm not really feeling valued, because you make it so easy for someone to come in to your life. You
Mhm.
make it very easy in a way because you're so attentive to their needs. Do you understand
Right.
that?
Yes, I do. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And so where I see things for you at the moment, Erica, is that I need to sort of draw a little bit of a line in the sand and say, well, actually, I'm worth a little bit more. And I feel as though you're going to share a little bit more about how you feel so that you can have that, really great relationship. The other card I drew there, and you'll come back maybe and watch the video, but it's a lady and she's got the world in her hands. But the whole thing is with this one is she needs to speak up. So it's about being able to speak up for what it is that you want. I'm just sort of throwing the relationship forward in my mind. I think he's someone that he feels very genuine to me, feels like a very
Mhm.
nice and genuine person. And I think he just needs to understand a bit more about what you need in the relationship.
Right. I understand that too. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know that you're fearful because I feel in the past there's been a lot of disappointment, is what I feel.
Mhm.
And I also have a sense that you're, um, okay, so I'll just say a little bit low in confidence about your own offering in a relationship.
Hmm.
So what I mean by that is, sometimes we value ourselves by what we do instead of who we are. And I see
Right.
you as an amazing woman who's, what's your birthday, Erica?
January 28th. I just have one.
Oh, happy birthday. And
Thank you.
8, 9, 10, 11 is 2. Because this year is really about a lot of bringing foundation into your life this year. And what's your year of birth? What's your year that you were born?
74.
Okay, so it's 10, 17, 21. Yeah, so really, part of your life purpose is about finding real balance within relationships and also knowing it's time to have fun. So I feel you have to teach people how to treat you and you have to learn how to really let go. A lot of your life you will not trust as much in yourself as what you should trust in yourself. So it's just really to give yourself a bit of a break is how it feels. But I think the
Oh,
relationship's got a lot of potential
okay.
once you begin to speak up more and you allow that person, we get it all the wrong way around because I feel you're doing so much for him and he's enjoying that is how it seems.
Mhm.
And at some point
Yeah.
you have to stop doing so much and really the man's job in a relationship is to do for the woman. And
Right.
I don't mean
Mhm.
that in an old-fashioned way or in a bigot, but the energy of masculine energy is doing. And when women do too much for their men, they fall into masculine energy and they tend to want to control everything. So you're really
Mhm.
looking at how you can make him happy, but you can't make him happy. He has to make himself happy. So
Right.
do you have a
Okay.
child already as well? Do you already have a
Yes.
daughter?
Yes, I
Yeah.
do. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know that that plays partly in your wanting to please energy instead of just letting go and having some fun. So I really feel it's time to, yeah, enjoy this relationship, but get back to being more, I say boyfriend, girlfriend, instead of sort of playing house so soon, if that
Okay.
makes sense. Yeah,
Yes, it does.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Okay.
But I do feel like it's got a very powerful energy for you. And I do feel this year for you is going to be a much better year around money as well, because I feel that that's been a bit of a concern for you, the money side of things. But it feels that
Mhm.
that's going to be much stronger for you this year.
Okay.
I get a sense of you being very tired at the moment.
Yeah, I am. I really am a little exhausted just of all the different things that's going
Yeah,
on with this relationship. But yeah.
yeah, yeah. So a lot of it, again, is around boundaries. Stop doing so much, start asking more for what you need, and really go into your heart as well, because I feel your biggest concern is that you've done this before and you're afraid you're doing it again.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it's a little bit like I don't want to keep doing the same things over and over again. Now, I do feel that if you have this conversation with your partner about uh, um, him participating more, then I think you'll see a big change. Yeah. I think you know what I
Okay.
mean there, Brad, as well. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wish you well with it. Um, so is your daughter around 8 years old?
She's 11.
11. I was going to say
Yeah.
12 first, so I should have just gone with 12. Yeah. Because she feels like she's really keen to make sure that you're happy. She's going through that bit of a transition in her life too. 11's a difficult age because you're going from little
Mhm.
girl into young woman. So I know
Mhm.
that I feel like she's very protective of you.
She is.
And
Uh-huh.
it's almost like she's become the mother in lots of ways as well. Because I know that she's got a very strong sense of herself, is what I feel.
Mhm.
Do you see that with her?
I do see that with her sometimes. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know that um, this is a time for you to just let go a little bit of being the homemaker and start to become the girlfriend again.
Okay. Okay. I
All right.
understand that a lot. Uh-huh.
Yeah. All right. Okay, Erica. Well, I wish you well. And yeah, hopefully you get to see that big full moon tonight.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right. Okay. So now we've got Sherry in New Haven, Connecticut. Hello, Sherry. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How can I help you tonight?
Okay, I just want to say I identified a little bit with the caller before when you were saying that how sometimes women do too much for men. I'm a doer,
Yep.
like I cook
Yep.
well, I love
Yep.
well, I love very hard, so I almost don't give the other person a chance to get a move in, you know what I'm saying? To
Absolutely.
do
And
anything and you can
yeah,
destroy a relationship that way.
that is so true. You are so right, because we're so keen to do everything that in a way it emasculates the man, because a man actually wants to be able to fix and look after his woman. Not fix her, but he wants to be able to, like men go around, they want to fix the fence, they want to fix the house,
Right.
they actually want to do that kind of thing. But if we're so busy doing everything so well, there's
Mhm.
nothing for them to feel
Right.
valued. It's so yeah, it's and we're in a really interesting phase, I think, of male-female relationships because
Mhm.
women have got more power than they've ever had before.
Right.
We
But you
can go
see,
out and earn. Yeah.
uh-huh. I also feel that a real man won't let a woman do everything. So it
Well, I
could just
believe
be that
that
the
too.
different men that I've been, picking up in my life when I was having relationships might have been men that were because some
Yeah.
men can zero in on a good woman. Like, if you're a giver, they see that, and if they're in it to
Yeah.
take advantage of you to begin with, they have it made.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's probably, yeah, you're right. The energy I was picking up with the previous caller. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
I don't want to waste time on a question, but
No.
this is kind of strange. I'm going to ask you anyway. I seem
Yeah.
to look back a lot at a relationship. It was the first love of my life. I fell in love with him when I was 15, and I'm still carrying the torch for him. We were on and off for 7 years, and he wasn't coming forward for me, to want a life with me. So I had to move on. So I moved on before he did. I met someone, and I have an absolutely beautiful daughter who's doing very well in this life, and I did very well with her. But it's like there's a part of me that can't let go of that person, that I think a lot about what it would have been like to have had him in my life. He would have been I thought he was my real first love, Like my mother used to always say,
Yeah.
you never get over your first love. And I just
Yeah.
have, my sister thinks it's crazy that Sherry, that happened 40 years ago. You act like it was
Yeah.
yesterday,
Yeah.
because I've kept that memory alive.
Yeah, and that's what we do. And I can totally relate to it because I have a similar situation with a relationship I had in my early 20s, which I would call my first love. But listening to you, one of the things that came to me is that if another person that we're in a relationship with doesn't fully reciprocate in the way we want them to, there's a part of us that gets left wondering, what did I do wrong? And it's almost like an unfulfilled wish to have that time over again because we really want 100% of their love. Now, what happens is, do you understand that when I say that?
Yes, I do.
So what happens in relationships is that as children, if we don't get 100% of our mothers and fathers' attention and love, and it's almost impossible, nobody ever gets that usually because our mothers and fathers are like we are. They don't have the manual when we get born, and so they're just doing the best that they can. But, if you've had an absent father or you haven't been given as much attention, generally what we do in relationships is try to heal childhood hurts. And so the first time we get attention from someone, it's almost as though this is the knight in shining armor. This is the one that's going to help us feel complete. And what I sense with you is that inner knowing of that already, that it's the yearning is not so much even for the reality of the relationship, but almost the illusion of it. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean that sometimes it's almost like an unfulfilled part of us because we didn't see it through to its conclusion.
Right.
And, you left, so he didn't stand up. He didn't stand up and say, actually, I don't want you to leave. I want you to be my woman. And so there's always, I sense, a feeling within us of, it's like incompletion in a way. So
But I wonder if I didn't move on, I wonder, would he have married me?
Well, the thing I get there is if you hadn't moved on, I don't feel he would have been ready to stand up still. So you would have potentially, you've got this crystallized vision of that period in that relationship where for you it must have been amazing, but you also it wasn't good enough because you moved on. So I would aim to let go of the regret and my feeling is that if you'd stayed, you probably would have been very disappointed long term because when somebody doesn't stand up at the beginning, it's very hard then for that to happen later on, in my experience. And it's funny that you ring because a lot of the work I do is around relationships and seeing the dynamics that go on. And when I look at that relationship as I see it in my mind, the feeling is that I think he was not able to express himself very well either, to give you that feedback, to give you that beautiful sense of what a beautiful woman you were. I just don't get the sense of him. I see him there, I see him watching, I see him admiring, but I don't see him doing.
Yeah, and that could be too, because sometimes men don't know how to show their
Exactly.
love,
Yeah.
But I've wasted too much energy on him. I'm like, like I said, that happened when I was 15, and now I'm 62. I've been through a couple of long-term relationships. Now I'm by myself, and I almost wonder if that's my calling, is to be alone, and because I don't feel like there's anybody made for me. And it's not, I don't mean that in a cocky way where I think I'm better than anybody. I just feel like I feel like I'm missing out. There's something that I'm not getting out there, and I don't know why. If it's something that I'm not giving out to other people or to men, or it just doesn't seem like there's anything for me. Do you know what I mean? Like in The Wizard of Oz, where she goes, I don't think there's anything in that bag for me. I feel that way with this life. Like, as far as men go, I don't feel like there's anything out there for me.
Yeah, I do understand what you're saying, but what I feel is that it's more about what's in that bag for me, because life is about filling yourself up, and I can see that in relationships you have done that. You've loved well, you've given everything, and your job now is to give to yourself and really explore. What I see for you is, I just see it's a brand new journey of you now discovering more about yourself. I feel there's talents that you have that you've not used yet. I see a lot of artistic talent within you that you haven't tapped into fully. And I do feel that I'm really, it's almost as though I have to fall in love with myself first, fully, so that I can then share myself, but not lose myself. And that's the difference with women. We've got to learn how to share from a space of really being content with who we are. Because I know now you're not ready for second best. I know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did a lot of work on myself, and spiritually I'm in a beautiful place, because I help a lot of people at my job, and I help them by planting the seed of the Lord, in situations where people may be hurting. I can comfort people. I know I have that gift to do that. And I don't know if that's maybe what God wants from me, is to just do his work, maybe, because that is fulfilling. Like, I'm not lonely. I've been alone now for a while, and I kind of like it, to be honest with you. But there's times when I wish I had somebody to come home and to say, hey, how you doing? And just somebody to hang out with,
Yeah. Look, I see, I actually, my personal belief is that we're meant to be in relationship, because it's through relationship spiritually that we grow, because you grow when you're with someone, because you're reflected. So the reflection when you're in a relationship tells you whether you're still holding on to low self-esteem, or whether you're, usually our partners will trigger things in us. So I think it's okay to be on your own if you want to be, but my belief is that God doesn't want us to be alone. I don't think God is about making those kind of decisions, because I believe God's inside of us. So I believe that whatever you're here to do, and I just see at the moment, I feel like I'm on a beautiful journey. I feel like you've got great intuition and a very strong energy of healing with you. And I just feel that as long as you're happy and going with the flow, I do feel you meeting someone and it being completely different to how it's been before. A mature relationship with someone that is, who knows who they are, because I see celebration around you in the future around it. So I think it's more let go. The saying is let go, let God.
Mm-hmm.
And allow yourself, I feel it's more, though, to understand the energy around that first relationship and the energy of regret, because regret can hold us back. It can keep us stuck in a space where there is no room for anybody else. I'm just drawing a Mother Mary card. Oh, it's interesting because we've got the moon tonight, and the card is Our Lady with the moon at her feet. And I'm just going to put the card up so that you might come back and look at it in the replay. But the card is a picture of Mother Mary, but she has a beautiful big red heart right in the middle of her chest, and that flame is growing, it's glowing brightly. So I just see, and interesting in the card as well, she's actually stepping off into a new direction. So you'll see down the bottom her feet, she's moving forward. So I just sense that this is, yes, a very beautiful time of your life, and a time where if you can understand that first relationship and let go of regret, I think you will find a lot. You've already found peace, but I do feel you will find a very strong companion to be with, and it will be somebody that is very spiritually aware, just as you are, because you actually can't go back. You can't go back to the way you were before, which is a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Okay, real quick, because I know you're busy, but do you, my daughter's trying to have a baby. She's 41, and she's carried for like 2.5 months and then lost the baby. But they're telling her that she's very fertile. Do you see anything changing for her?
The thing I see for her is that if there is another pregnancy, she needs to completely rest from day one. It's as though I've just got to really be careful. But I do see, and we're just about out of time, I'm sorry. But the thing I get with that is, just for her to trust that it can happen and it will happen. And stress seems to be a big thing in her life, so she needs to really be mindful of stress. All right, lovely. I'm sorry, I've got to go. I'm getting the hurry up from my producer. Yeah, so I wish you well, and I feel like it's going to be an amazing year for you. Okay, so thanks, Sherry. So yeah, that was our show this week, and I wish you all very well. Enjoy the moon. See you next week here on Living a Loving Life with Susan Kennedy.